Welcome again to this web analytics series. And so far, we've been able to connect our small website to GA4, whereby we see the activities that is going on the website. And also, we saw the GA4 report in terms of the traffic, in terms of the events that is happening, the active engagement and all. But because we want to take this particular analysis to the granular level, there's a need for us to connect that website again, that GA4 into BigQuery, because we want to query the data, we want to understand beyond the surface level what the data really meant. And that's the main reason why we connected it into the BigQuery. And when we connected it into the BigQuery, we saw that data streamed into it, but because the activities that is just happening on that website is just one, and no activities has happened aside from that, so we only have the event to be one here. And because this one, BA4 will still follow the same format and importing that particular data into BigQuery. However, we want to take this a bit higher. We want to query a real data set, a public data set that has much more volume, just like the one we saw in GA4. So how are we going to do this? There's a need for us to go to the Explorer, which is here. Then when we come to the Explorer here, we'll go to Add Data. And then we will come to a star a project by name, because the project name that we are looking for is BigQuery public dataset. So we will type BigQuery space public space hyphen data. Then we start that particular project. And when it is start like that, we are going to see that particular data set, that particular data that is called BigQuery public data here, because it's now start. Because we can't use everything, because it's a compendium of various data from COVID to every other thing. So, but the one we want to use there is GA4. So we can click the volume of the data set. Then it loads. You see there are volumes of data up to like 50 plus or so. But we will need the GA4, so we can type it, or you can continue to scroll. So we can search for it here. Then it shows up. Now, one thing I want you to notice here is that this location is very, very important when we are creating our bronze, because we are using the Medallion architecture. The Medallion architecture approach to query the data, that is from gold to silver to bronze. What are the things that is expected in these three stages is very, very critical in creating this pipeline, so that as data is streaming into your silver, bronze, as data is streaming into your bronze, is going into your silver, then getting to a clean data that you can now send to the looker through your gold. So let's look at what is inside this particular table. We have various tables in this particular analysis. We have various tables. But because it's a very large data set, we might not be... Okay, let's try and open just one. Let's try and open one, and you can see that it's really, really big. It's really, 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 really big. So, and we can at least just try and select everything here. And we are selecting everything. And just for this particular one, this particular table alone, let's see how many activities on this particular table alone. You will see that this one alone, just 1 day activities, is about 31,272. Now, if you are to look at the whole event, let's look at the whole event. Let's start the event. So let's look at this whole event, that is every event that has been coming into this particular one. Let's see. This is 4 seconds. This is 5 seconds. So it's a very, very large data set. Very, very large data set, I must say. So, and the result shows that You see the results? 4.3 million data set. So just for this tutorial, that might be too large in terms of running the query, waiting to run the query and all, but we would only limit it to 2021 data. So we are bringing in 2021 data into our own project. Note one thing, the location is in the US. So if you create another location, it will not match the data together to bring you an error. So since we know this particular data set here, let us now go to our own table and create the same thing. Open the query. So there's a need for us first to create the data set. So let's create our data set here. Let's still bring this one up because it's a start project, so everything will still come in here. So let's create our data set. That's our bronze, BRONZE, bronze. So what location it is? US. Then let's create the data set. So the data set bronze has been created. So let's bring 2021, the whole data of 2021, let's bring it into this data set. So how we're going to do it, create or replace table. If there's any table there before, it will replace it. So my address, create, okay. So my address for this is from, because the way GA4 actually, BigQuery actually runs is that before you can write a query, you have to reference the project ID, then to the data set, then the name that you want to call the table you are creating. So from here, my own is testing. So the name of the project ID is testing analytics. So it has brought it dot bronze, then dot the name I want to give it. So you cannot give me a suggestion. I can call it GA4 event. Then I will close it. As what? As then select, sorry, not as, select everything from, so this is the address because I don't want to miss the letter. This is the address. I'm bringing it from here. Then where there is a need, because we want to limit our data set just to 1 year. So where the table suffix, where the table suffix so is between 2021 01/31 and is 2020, okay, and 2021 0/12, that's 31. So that's between 2021 January, so 01/01. This should be 01/01. That's January 1, 2021 to December 31st, 2021. So let's bring in the data set. Let's run and let's see what we can have from this. Bam. So our bronze data has been created and the data that we want to use with it has come into our project and it is already showing here. It's already showing here and we can just check one or two things from it. We can see the date, the timestamp, the name. This is a nested data because there are many things in that particular data set. This is also the bronze. This is the pseudo users. Now that the data set is showing in bronze and it's showing, we've imported it into the bronze. Then the next thing is for us now to create the data to see how the data is actually, what is the behavior of the data, so that we're able to know what we need to extract from that raw data, how can we clean it, and what are the things we need to do in the silver level, because we are moving from the gold now to the silver level, whereby we can query the data, clean it up, and see what is needed for our gold. I will see you again in the next class, and I hope you enjoyed this series. See you later.